The story begins with a massive explosion erupting in the distance, prompting two young boys to race through a nearby village. The older boy, Jinny, constantly checks on his younger brother, Yukito, reassuring him that they're almost at the ferry. Nearby, a man tries to calm the panicked villagers, promising that more ferries will come to take them to safety. The boys quickly tell the man that someone named Momoko had instructed them to board the ferry as soon as possible, to which the man agrees. The boys then express their worry about two others, Haru and Aka, who were left behind. The man reassures them, explaining that their master, Yanagi, had gone back to retrieve them. Meanwhile, we see Yanagi facing the intense blaze, acknowledging its relentless power, yet deciding that it's time for one final effort. Elsewhere, another man is saved by a companion just before collapsing, expressing deep concern for Master Yanagi's safety. On the ferry, the two boys watch in horror as their island is engulfed in flames, worrying about their great master. As time passes, we see that Yukito has grown older. He receives a letter from a family friend named Ino, but dismisses it. Yukito often dreams of being alone underwater, a scenario that brings him comfort as someone who avoids getting close to others. However, this time, something strange happens. He's suddenly pulled out of the dream, which has never happened before. At his graduation ceremony, Yukito speaks with one of his teachers, mentioning the letter he received from Ino. The letter explained that after Yukito's father died when he was just 5, Ino had to place Yukito in foster care. Now that Yukito has graduated middle school, Ino offers to become his guardian and invites him back to the Ayaka Islands, his birthplace, to attend high school. The teacher comments on the unfairness of leaving Yukito alone for so many years only to now ask him to return, but Yukito isn't too concerned, believing that his life won't change much either way. As Yukito walks away, he reflects on his time in foster care, where everyone treated him kindly, though he chose to keep to himself, leading to his current loneliness. Suddenly, he notices a group of students gathered around a strange man, who is drinking publicly. The man recognizes Yukito and comments on how much he's grown, but Yukito insists the man has mistaken him for someone else. Despite the man's persistence, Yukito continues to deny his identity and walks away. The man follows, and in a shocking turn of events, he throws Yukito off a bridge. As Yukito struggles underwater, he feels his clothes growing heavy, signaling that he is about to drown. Panic sets in as Yukito's body begins to react strangely, triggering flashbacks from his past. Desperately trying to calm himself, he hopes to prevent a recurrence of past events. Just in time, the man completes an incantation, which seems to stabilize the situation, confirming Yukito's true identity. The man then performs another incantation, teleporting Yukito onto a boat in the middle of the sea. He introduces himself as Jinji, a fellow Ayaka Islander, and explains that he knows Yukito's father's friend and has come to bring him back home. Jinji, who views himself as an older brother figure to Yukito, points out a train in the distance, the marine liner, which connects the Ayaka Islands. They arrive at the second island, where Yukito lived until he was 5 years old. Upon their arrival, they are greeted by two familiar faces, Momoko, the landlord of Yukito's childhood home, and Inu, the mayor of Ayakashima City, who sent Yukito the letter. Inu is now Yukito's guardian. Yukito is welcomed back and taken to his old home, though he can't recall many memories. As he is shown a picture of his father, Yukito questions whether this man was truly his biological father. Momoko explains that Yukito's father, Yanagi, was an extraordinary lay master responsible for maintaining the harmony of the Ayaka Islands. Lay masters possess unique abilities, like the one Jinji used to store Yukito in a dimensional pocket. When Momoko disapproves of how Jinji handled Yukito, Jinji defends himself. He reveals that he was Yanagi's third student, though the first and second students are considered much more accomplished, a comparison Jinji resents as they had a significant head start. Yukito realizes that his strange power manifests when he is in water, but Momoko explains that he hasn't yet mastered the basics and reassures him that, as Yanagi's son, he must have been born with extraordinary talent. As for Yukito's mother, there is no information. Yanagi shocked everyone by suddenly bringing home a child without ever mentioning a partner. Yukito was called back to the islands due to his father's will, which instructed that he grow up on the mainland, severing ties with the Ayaka Islands until the right time. Although they don't fully understand Yanagi's reasons, they trust that it was important. Yukito agrees to live with them, believing it won't change much for him. As he heads to his room, a harmless creature called Madama enters. Jinji explains that these creatures are common on the island, and Yukito will get used to them. Jinji then questions why Yukito is isolating himself and urges him to open up, criticizing his indifferent attitude towards living with his guardians. Yukito recounts a childhood incident where, during a riverside picnic, he got angry at another child, causing the river to attack the boy. This power frightened Yukito, leading him to distance himself from others, believing it was safer to remain alone to keep his emotions in check. Although Jinji seems to be listening, Yukito notices that he's distracted, which angers him. Yukito storms off and, as he cools down outside, wonders why his usual strategy of keeping distance from others no longer seems effective. Suddenly, a Madama in a nearby body of water transforms into something dangerous, and Jinji rushes to the scene. He's surprised to find Yukito encountering an Aramatama, a harmful being drawn to Yukito's gloomy aura. Jinji tells Yukito to watch as he demonstrates his power, but the Aramatama proves difficult to defeat. In a shocking move, Jinji throws Yukito into the Aramatama, forcing him to confront his fears head-on. Enraged, Yukito unleashes a powerful attack that destroys the enemy, though his power then turns on Jinji. Despite Yukito's panic, Jinji manages to protect himself and observes that Yukito is terrified of his own abilities. He tells Yukito that the issue isn't his power, but his lack of control, and offers to help him train, asking only for respect and to be called master. The Aramatama is then purified, and Jinji urges Yukito to stop isolating himself, reassuring him that grown-ups can handle his emotional outbursts. As they head home, Jinji insists on celebrating with a drink, but Yukito, now determined to express his feelings, knocks Jinji into the water, reminding him that he's not of legal drinking age. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a man receives a message that concerns his students. Though he assures them that everything is fine, he notes that a certain boy has returned. In another location, a man finishes a job and prepares to head back. Back at home, Yukito hesitates before Jinji reminds him to open up. Yukito thanks Momoko for her kind words and acknowledges that it's good to be back home. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 of this recap.